Welcome back to Ninja.Energy. Today we're going to look at VLOOKUP, but simplified. VLOOKUP allows you to look for a specific piece of information inside of a table and return back information from a given column in that table. And there's two ways you can match it. You can do an approximate match, which is a true, or you can do an exact match, which is false. It is always better to do an exact match in nearly every case that you come across. So, to put this pretty blunt, the weakness again for VLOOKUP is the value you're looking up has to be in the first column of the table. And if I want to match the user ID to some fields, so in this case I want to pull back who the team manager QA agent ID is, the user ID has to be in the first column. Now in my user list you'll see that it's not, and in turn you're not going to be able to actually search with VLOOKUP to find the agent name, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But we can use VLOOKUP to get the team manager and QA agent ID. So how do I write that formula? In this case I want to say lookup cell G2, which is the user ID for the specific record. Go to my user list in column B through E and pull back what is in column 2, which is right here in C. So it's going to pull back this column because that's column 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So column 2 is the team, but we have to identify it as a 2 right there. We're going to put false because we want an exact match. Now with that being said, we can enter it and pull our formula down, and it's going to give us that information. We can replicate that very quickly for managing QA agent ID. The only thing we have to change here, again, is what column we're going to pull back. Now, because of the shortfalls of VLOOKUP, in the example we have today, I'm using XLOOKUP to get the agent. Now, it would have been more efficient to just use XLOOKUP across the board, but we're going over VLOOKUP, and you have to see that it wouldn't work. So if I attempted to do this, right? So I want to look up G2, and it's not possible to start with agent first. So I went to agent first and pulled it over and said I want, the first column, and it's an exact match. You're going to get an NA error. Now you have to realize that's going to be a problem if you're trying to do this with VLOOKUP. You can use index match to correct that. You could use XLOOKUP to correct it. Just be aware, that those would be additional steps you'd have to take. But for formality purposes, XLOOKUP is always going to be better, and you can go check that video out. It's already been posted. Now, in the event you do get an error message with a VLOOKUP, it just says NA, right? So you have to know how to handle that. You can use the function if error and then how you want to handle it. So in this case, if I wanted to do that, I would say if error in this formula here, we had it as column 1. So if error in this formula, do this other formula. Inherently it will end up kicking back what you need. Now you don't have to use XLOOKUP if that. You could go into an index match, or you could correct your user list so that you swap these two columns so that user ID becomes column 1, and then at that point your VLOOKUP would work and you can pull in the agent name. However, I'm not going to do that for this video. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave a message for me. I'll try to get a content to answer all those questions for you. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel to get our latest content, but otherwise, have a wonderful day.